So the first medieval monarch we're going to look at is Henry II, and he is the great-grandson of William the Conqueror. So how did Henry II lose power is what we're looking at today. Well, we need to work that out. First step we need to do is we understand this, which is this, that there is the feudal system as we know. And for most people, this is pretty simple. The king's at the top, the nobles are underneath, the knights are underneath them, and then the peasants are at the bottom. And so this is simple. I have my place in society. If I'm a peasant, I need to look up to the knights. If I'm a knight, I look up to the nobles look up to the king. This is easy and obvious if I'm a medieval person. But there's a problem, that there is another system of power. And this is really important because I am, as an ordinary person, very, very worried about going to hell. This is my big worry in my life. I need to make sure that I do everything I can to make sure I go to heaven and my family goes to heaven and don't end up in hell. And so this is a problem because there's a different system, a different hierarchy here. There's the Pope, head of the church, there's the priests, and the priests are the people who run the everyday churches that I would go to, and then there's the ordinary people underneath. So it's a bit confusing for me if I'm one of the ordinary people, because I've got to think about this, the feudal system, and my place in that, but I've also got to make sure that I do what the priests and the Pope want, because the Pope is the closest person to God. And so if I upset the priests and upset the Pope, then there's a likelihood I will end up in hell. So it's confusing for me. Am I meant to trust and respect and be loyal to the king, or am I meant to be loyal to the Pope? Now, this is a story about someone who decided to be loyal to the Pope, and this person is called Thomas Becket. And on the left you can see Henry II. On the right you can see Thomas Becket. Now Thomas Becket was the Archbishop of Canterbury, which means that he was one of the most important priests, and he was also someone that Henry II really liked and respected. So he was an important advisor to the king, helped the king, but he also was meant to be working for the Pope. And after an argument between the Pope and Henry II, Thomas Becket decided that he would choose the Pope. Now, Thomas Becket, he left England. He had to flee because he was worried about what Henry II would do. But he eventually returned. And when he did return, Henry II was so annoyed at him because he had felt that he had been let down or betrayed by Henry II, that he said to some knights that he was extremely angry and wanted Thomas Becket to be killed, or at least that's what they thought he said. And so they went to a church, this highly holy place, and you can see in this picture these knights, they went there and they murdered Henry II. Now this is a big problem for Henry II because if we go back here, people are now hugely confused because are they meant to trust the king? But the king is someone who has just ordered the murder, they think, of Thomas Becket. So if they support the Pope, the king, then the Pope is going to be extremely angry with them. And probably God, they think, will be angry with them. And so they begin to choose the people that they would rather support the church and the leaders of the church than support Henry II. So Henry II is looking really weak because the feudal system's weak, because most people don't want to be loyal to him. They want to be loyal to the priests and the Pope instead. So this is a picture of hell, which is where people are very worried they're going to end up if they follow Henry II and don't follow what the Pope wants. And so Henry II, he realized that his own people would turn against him and might rebel against him. So he decided to take a walk dressed in very little clothes, as you can see in the picture, and he made this slow walk to Canterbury, which is where the body of Thomas Becket could be found. And as he made that walk, as you can see, holy people whipped him. And Henry II had to accept this because he was It was the only way that he could be forgiven for the sin of Thomas Becket dying, and the people themselves might also forgive him and allow him to still be the king.